What lessons can we learn from someone who's acquiring internationally? Orrin Klopper of Netsurit, who's based in South Africa with operations in the US as well, who's been buying companies, speaks with me on this bonus episode of The Business of Tech. Orrin, thanks for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
So I find it super fascinating to talk to owners of solution provider businesses, IT services companies, MSPs, whatever we're calling ourselves, who have seen success in order to get a sense of what they've put their business together and what they're doing now. But in order to give some perspective for our listeners, let's start with the obvious. So tell me about Netsurit and your business.
Sure. So we sit in the MSP space. We're what's called an MSP, have a very deep Microsoft skill set, and our customer base is predominantly Microsoft. Ideal customer profile, 50 to 1,000 users. Certain industries we've built some very, very deep competence in. And our core is managed services. Really, we either are our customer's IT department, or on the upper end of our ideal customer, we augment their IT department. And at the upper level of our offering is a service called Innovate, which is an automation and digital transformation managed service, where if you're spending $5,000 a month with us in an agreement, we will find you $60,000 worth of ROI. And that's particularly leveraging the Microsoft technology stack. Our purpose is supporting the dreams of the doers. So on the people side, that is about our culture and the aspirations of our culture and the belief that you can be balanced and work an 8-hour day and really do great work and be unbelievably successful. And then on the customer side of our purpose, it is about understanding their business and taking that understanding and finding technology opportunities to really make a difference.
I love the way you describe that, but I want to actually ask a follow-up there, because you say you sit in the MSP space and you offer managed services. What term do you use to describe your organization, like in your own head and internally? Like, how do you guys describe yourself?
Yeah, I think in the industry, when we're talking on almost the M&A side, and we're maybe having discussions with private equity firms and so forth, we definitely use the term MSP. In the context of our customers, we're positioning ourselves as their technology partner. That's definitely the taxonomy that we're using there. And we have an active goal and objective to decrease the amount of acronyms that we throw at our customers and talk to them in a way that connects to their business and in language they understand.
Yep, that's where I was trying to get at, is that distinction between the way you talk to industry and your M&A versus the way you're talking out to your customers. I think that's an interesting element to that. And I'm going to ask kind of another simple question to get this rolling. How do your people generally spend their time? Like what is the bulk of the time they're spend engaging with customers doing?
So the high majority, we are just short of 70% annuity, and the high 90s of that is core managed services. And in that, we've automated a lot of what was in the past very manual, repetitive work. And a lot of our people, I like to believe, I'd actually love to go and run the exercise to get more empirical with this, but I believe a lot of them are dealing with our actual customers and the people in their teams, and driving change management and helping talk them through difficult challenges that they're having, leveraging their technology. I still think there's a fair amount that are doing some of your rudimentary managed services pieces that we possibly haven't automated entirely, but I feel a lot of them are actually dealing with customer challenges and opportunities, and how technology can have that impact that we aim for.
Okay, you revealed a little bit, and I want to get a little bit more there. So you sort of said it's about 70% annuity right now.
Yes.
So I would assume the other 30 is a little bit more transactional. Can you
Sure.
give me the other numbers that describe the size of the business?
Sure. The revenue was?
I intentionally made it vague. Revenue's a great one to hear.
Yeah, sure.
But people, customer size, like how big is the business?
Oh, okay, sure. So we're approximately $35 million in revenue. with offices across South Africa and the US. We're over 200 people. Again, deep Microsoft certification and skills. And about, I think it's 67% is annuity. And then the rest of the revenue, Dave, is made up of professional services, which is consulting and projects. And then we still do sell some equipment and technology to our customers as well, which is product.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. But it's interesting because if I think about what you've just described, what your people do, it's definitely the lead there was the consultative business advice, the guidance to help them be effective. And I want to zero in on that statement you made right at the beginning. You said that we've got to you focus on getting them a 60K return on investment. Mm. That's a really specific statement. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, sure. So we have various levels of that particular engagement. So in the context of where they've signed a $5,000 monthly innovate agreement, we're saying over 12 months, that's going to accrue to 60. So we will find technology ROI opportunities that equal to that $60,000, or we will continue working for free after that until we actually find it. And there are various pillars where we look for that. The one is automation, which really is around cost savings and productivity. The other is risk reduction. And then the final one is employee engagement. And what we are seeing is a lot of organizations, Dave, have invested in the technology, have invested in the licensing, and a fair amount of their people are not actually using it. So that in itself we have found to be a great opportunity to add value to our customer. Risk reduction talks a lot to cyber, some really basic stuff that you can do to prevent unnecessary breaches and issues from that perspective. And then automation remains it's a field day. There are I've yet to go into the business where we haven't found the most obvious and delicious automation opportunities to literally, I was actually dealing with a provider a couple of days ago, and they made me fill in a paper-based form. But I dealt with them the day before. They made me fill in the exact same paper-based form the next day. So I recorded a video and I actually sent it to their CEO just to say, this is ridiculous. It was a complaint plus an opportunity, because the one thing is, not only is it wasting time in your business, but it frustrates and irritates your customers because they're used to dealing with providers where you're automating as much of that and making that experience more delightful.
So it really is a lot of that helping people in the work layer, the productivity layer,
yes.
Like making their people be more effective is kind of the bulk of the value that you're offering to customers. Is that the way you would describe it?
I wouldn't say it's the bulk of the value that we're offering, because the incarnation of that particular offering, which is one of our offerings, is newer. So we're in the earlier days, so not all of our customers are necessarily using that offering. So it's not the bulk when I look at the work that we're actually doing, but it's probably one of the parts that I'm the most excited about. Because you look at that Microsoft technology stack, Office 365, even leveraging Microsoft Power Platform, Microsoft Viva, there is just a field day of those types of opportunities.
Now, I'm going to throw out a premise, and I want to get your reaction to it. So I've posited on the show that I think in the IT services business, we're actually kind of primed for a bit of a disruption. That there's a lot of chaos in this space, particularly if you think about the way it's implemented at the smaller side. There's a lot of pressure from business owners to do something about the chaos, particularly when we think cyber, right? There's a lot of that. And so there's coming regulation. There's now scrutiny of data management. And by the way, we've got a lot of kind of industry technical debt that we're dragging with some of the technologies that we've used for the past 20 years. And from my vantage point as an analyst, I look and say, this is a space that's ripe for disruption because of these factors. What's your take on that premise?
Yeah, I think back to when the cloud was really going mainstream in fact, probably 2007. And I was on a Microsoft partner advisory council, and they were launching it was called Live at the time. And they had the Gartner graphs of the cloud and the value proposition, and everything was just like amazing. And then they had the foresight to say security is going to be an issue. And I even if I look back, even further back than that, what some of our customers would do to be able to remain secure, the accounting machine would be off the local area network, just to be really, really hyper paranoid. And yeah, I tend to agree with you. How easy it is to disrupt the current heterogeneous, extremely complex nature of the space, I would not underestimate. But if that can be cracked and standardized and automated, and a lot of these inherent risks mitigated, wow, that is a massive, massive, massive opportunity.
Okay, we're definitely not like-minded, because I like spaces that are ripe for disruption because of exactly what you described. Right, there's tons of opportunity, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be messy to get there. Now, I throw out mine. What keeps you up at night? Like, what's the thing that keeps you up at night as an owner of a provider in the modern era?
Yeah, so one of the things that we saw happening probably 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and I think it only really landed in 2019. And with your history, you would have known it. In the earlier days of our business, it was easier to find new customers. There were not as many competitors out there. So right now, if you just look at the core managed services offering, it is the reddest red ocean we could ever fathom. It is just if any potential customer just tries for 2 minutes to get a few extra service providers to quote, they could end up with 10 proposals on their desk in a very, very short space of time. So for me, one of the things that continues to keep me up at night, although we've done some things that I'm proud of and I think have differentiated us, is to remain differentiated. And if I look at now, Dave, what we are investing as a business in marketing and lead generation versus what we used to invest, we were proud ourselves on almost investing nothing. It is exponentially greater, even as a ratio of revenue. And so that is the one thing that definitely I think about a lot. And then two other key things. We're going through rapid growth. The fastest growth we've ever gone through, because we're doing both organic and acquisitive. And the key things that I know we have to protect or it will fail. And one is to protect the culture as we grow. Because if we get that wrong, we will lose great people. And then the second risk is to protect the quality of our service. And that is connected to the customer piece. Because if we lose great people and we lose the quality of our service, we will lose our customers. And that's what we're trying to protect. So really differentiation in a red ocean and really protecting the DNA and the soul of our business through the most rapid growth we've ever experienced.
Good challenges to have. Now I want to talk about a couple of those. Talk to me a little bit about your marketing strategy. In particular, I'm dying to ask, because tell me what is that ratio? Like, what is your revenue to spend on marketing? And what are you doing there to drive that messaging out?
So excluding salespeople and just investment in monthly marketing, there are a couple of things that it's between $120,000 to $150,000 a month, just to give you a perspective. So that is the level of investment. And just to give a little bit of insight into where it was and where it came from, in 2019, it was a fraction of that. It was less, It was a fifth of that. And we saw our organic growth had massively plateaued. And then we went about cutting costs and redistributing that investment because we knew how important that was. So we're in a position now where the leads we are getting, probably only 15% are coming from relationships and the conventional place they came from. Now that high 85%, the leads are coming from actual well thought out lead generation efforts.
Is that digital? Is it physical? Yeah. Is it like tell me a little bit about the specific tactics that are going into that.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll start with the one that will probably make you think we're archaic and out of the dark ages first. That is, so there are three of our top lead referrals. I'll start with the most archaic. Is literally email marketing. Okay. So we've thought long and hard and deeply, and we leverage various partners there. One specifically, and that's literally just reaching out, but it's very targeted, and we put a lot of energy and effort into the messaging and the lead magnet piece. Then the second is just we have a partner that is guiding us from a digital perspective. We have resources internally that are very dedicated to that as well. That's a big one. And then we have a multitude of smaller partners that we use. So we do some research based type engagements, and then we make that research available to the audience that we have surveyed. And we've just ended up with a lot of content that we leverage in the digital. So those are kind of be some of the main areas, Dave.
Coupled with that very much is your other statement of differentiation, right? And there is, I'm a believer that differentiation is not only what you are, but it's also how you talk about it. And if the two are in alignment, then you're authentic. That's my basic premise. So thus it's very natural for me to go, okay, so what is the differentiation that you're conveying out through your messaging and who you are? What are you positioning as your differentiation?
Yeah, so we're when you look at the term digital transformation, I think it can be overtraded, and everybody's trying to say they're doing digital transformation. And the one way in our messaging that we're trying to differentiate ourselves is to say you've never arrived at a place of being digitally transformed. It's a perpetual aspiration, and it's almost a perpetual agility and a muscle that you develop. So in the beginning, I think to go from being not having embraced the opportunity of technology in your business to getting to a certain level, you could call that some level of digital transformation. But the way that we're incorporating this into our messaging is saying it is a constant thing that you need to be thinking about and one of the pillars of your strategy. And we typically look for customers that embrace the opportunity of technology. And then, if I just look at our innovate offering and the amount of customers that are wanting to talk to us about this and the success that we're seeing, it is a message that is really landing. So for all of our campaigns and all of the outreach that we do, we're able to see how our customers are responding. And this is that offering, and the fact that it's guaranteed. So if you're spending $5,000 a month and we don't achieve the ROI, we'll carry on doing that until we do. It takes the pressure off the customer to have to micromanage us because we've offered that guarantee. And then, funnily enough, the final piece that I think remains a big part of our differentiation is our culture. So we have a culture that we believe you can be balanced. We call it our dreams program, and you can actually do truly great work without overworking and burning out and never seeing your family. But it's not for everybody. Because what we are saying is that work life and your personal life are inextricably linked. So some people don't believe in that, and so then it's not for everybody. But the people that do join our business, we're able to find highly talented people and keep them, and that in turn results. So our staff turnover is below 7%, and so in our industry with what's going on, that just creates a stability of service for our customers. So I think that's something that we've really been able to differentiate ourselves as far as finding talent and keeping talent.
Orrin, thank you for joining me today. Thanks for your time and attention. Time is a finite resource, and I really value you giving me some of yours. If you like this video, you can let me know with a like of the video, and even more valuable, hitting the subscription button. My content is all free, and I use metrics like subscriptions to pay the bills, so it has real value. The content here is produced under ethics guidelines posted at businessof.tech. If you're interested in more content like this, you can get access to content early via our Patreon at patreon.com/MSP Radio. It's our give what you want model where you set the value of what you think the content is worth. If you like this podcast, you can catch it daily as the 5-minute news and commentary show, The Business of Tech, available on all your favorite podcatchers with links at businessof.tech. Just hit that big blue button to subscribe. Again, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen, and I really value the interaction. If you want to say something in the comments, I do respond and watch all that, and I look forward to talking to you next time.